In the quiet cradle of Dayton, Ohio, 1962 marked the arrival of a child whose destiny would shake the very foundations of Major League Baseball. William Roger Clemens was born not just into the world, but into hardship, loss, and grit. The boy who would someday become one of the most dominant and controversial pitchers in the sport's history began his life with little fanfare. But fate had drafted him early. Roger's childhood unraveled in the shadows of adversity. At just 9 years old, his father, Bill Clemens, suffered a fatal heart attack. In an instant, the weight of raising 5 children fell on the shoulders of his mother, Bess. She worked tirelessly, holding down multiple jobs, moving the family throughout Texas in search of stability. But while the world around him spun with uncertainty, Roger found his escape, his purpose, and eventually, his weapon: baseball. Even in his earliest years, Clemens was a force of nature. At Springwoods High School in Houston, he loomed tall and determined. At 6 feet 4 inches, with the build of a linebacker and the focus of a monk, Roger dominated not just the baseball diamond, but also the football field. Yet it was on the mound where his destiny sharpened like a blade. He could throw hard, very hard. But it wasn't just power. It was precision, control, and an unrelenting hunger to conquer. The University of Texas beckoned next, and under legendary coach Cliff Gustafson, Clemens evolved from raw talent into a collegiate legend. He anchored the Longhorns to the 1983 College World Series title, earning Most Outstanding Player honors and etching his name on the radar of every major league scout. His fastball screamed through the strike zone at over 95 miles per hour, but it was his intensity, his refusal to settle, that set him apart. That same year, the Boston Red Sox took him with the 19th overall pick in the MLB draft. And by 1984, he stood on the Fenway Park mound, ready to rewrite history. Then came April 29, 1986, a date burned into the soul of baseball. That night, facing the Seattle Mariners, Clemens carved his name into the record books with an astonishing 20-strikeout game. The first time in MLB history any pitcher had reached such a number. One after another, the Mariners fell, overwhelmed by his fastball, deceived by his slider. The final out brought 35,000 fans to their feet, roaring in awe. At just 24 years old, Roger Clemens had become a living legend. He didn't stop there. That same 1986 season, he posted a 24-4 record, a 2.48 ERA, and racked up 238 strikeouts. He was awarded not just the Cy Young Award, but also American League MVP, a rare double for any pitcher. He carried the Red Sox to the World Series, coming heartbreakingly close to a title before fate intervened with the infamous Bill Buckner era. Clemens had reached the summit, only to be reminded how cruel the game could be. But his dominance never faded. Through the late 80s and early 90s, Clemens towered over hitters like a colossus. He captured 2 more Cy Young Awards in 1987 and 1991. He redefined the concept of durability, throwing deep into games with velocity few could match. His off-season regimen was brutal, an obsession. Teammates called it maniacal. To Clemens, it was necessary. Greatness demanded pain. Yet behind the brilliance, friction brewed. Clemens's relationship with Red Sox management soured. They questioned his age. They questioned his value. And after the 1996 season, Boston let him walk, thinking his best years were behind him. They couldn't have been more wrong. Clemens signed with the Toronto Blue Jays and unleashed a firestorm. At age 35, he stunned the league by going 21-7 with a 2.05 ERA and 292 strikeouts, winning the pitching Triple Crown and another Cy Young Award. He repeated the feat in 1998, this time posting a 26 record and claiming his 5th Cy Young. In 2 years, he silenced every doubt. The rocket still had fuel. Then, in a blockbuster move that shook baseball, Clemens joined the New York Yankees in 1999. To Red Sox fans, it was betrayal. To Clemens, It was about legacy. He wanted a ring, and in the Bronx, he finally got it. World Series titles in 1999 and 2000 cemented his place in history. The Rocket had landed on baseball's biggest stage and lit it on fire. In 2001, he joined an elite club, 300 wins and 4,000 strikeouts, standing beside only Nolan Ryan and Steve Carlton. But that milestone came with tears in his eyes and his family watching. It wasn't just a number. It was a life's work finally honored. Most men would have walked away. Clemens went home, to Houston. He joined the Astros in 2004 at age 42, and somehow, unbelievably, kept dominating. He went 18-4 with a 2.98 ERA, winning a record 7th Cy Young Award, making him the oldest pitcher ever to do so. The man was rewriting the rulebook on aging. Even into his mid-40s, Clemens continued to amaze. In 2005, he posted a 1.87 ERA, the lowest of his career. He didn't pitch like a legend trying to hang on. He pitched like the best in the game. He ended his career in 2007, suiting up for the Yankees one last time. By then, his resume was staggering. 354 wins, 4,672 strikeouts, third all-time, 7 Cy Youngs, 11 All-Star selections, and a reputation as one of the fiercest competitors the game had ever seen. He struck out 20 batters in a game twice, a feat only matched by one other pitcher in history. But the story doesn't end with stats, not with Roger Clemens. Because behind the fire and fury was a storm of controversy. In 2007, his name appeared in the Mitchell Report, tied to allegations of steroid and HGH use. Clemens denied it vehemently. He testified before Congress under oath, insisting on his innocence. The courtroom battles that followed, especially the federal perjury trial, dominated headlines. Though acquitted, the cloud never lifted. That shadow has cost him dearly. Despite Hall of Fame numbers, Clemens has been shut out of Cooperstown year after year. Voters remain split, torn between his brilliance and the era's dark cloud. He's become the face of baseball's moral debate. Can greatness still be honored when doubt stains the record? For some, Roger Clemens is a titan, proof of what relentless will and preparation can accomplish. A man who never accepted mediocrity and left everything on the field. For others, he's a symbol of baseball's ethical collapse, where excellence is forever second-guessed. But no matter the stance, no one can ignore him. He is one of the most decorated pitchers to ever set foot on a mound. His 20 strikeout masterpiece, his World Series rings, his 7 Cy Youngs, they're not myths, they're milestones. Roger Clemens' story is not simple. It's a war between glory and controversy, between legacy and scandal, and the man who saw his legacy questioned at the gates of immortality. Whether he ever wears the Hall of Fame plaque or not, one truth remains unshakable. When the conversation turns to the greatest pitchers of all time, the name Roger Clemens will always echo, loud, complex, unforgettable.